So payslips are obviously really important for you to be able to get a mortgage, but what exactly do they need to show for underwriters to be happy? Let's find out. So payslips are a really important document for underwriters to assess when they're looking at your mortgage application. And they're important because they summarize and verify your employed income. Now, income can be really complicated. You can have gross pay, bonus, overtime, shift allowance, lots of deductions. It can be really complicated for underwriters. So having a payslip summarizes all of that information, normally in one sheet of paper. It's really easy for them to assess and verify. So there's some key information that lenders will expect to see on your payslip. Let's go through them now. Your identity is a big one. Obviously, they'll need to see your full name and your address. It helps the lender to identify you as an employee as opposed to any other employee working for the company. Also, the lender will expect to see employer details. This can just be the employer's name, their address might be on there, and lenders will then use that potentially to inspect the company later on. Payment frequency. Lenders can see your pay date and your tax year period. That can really help them to obviously match your pay to the recency of your mortgage application. Lenders will also obviously expect to see your gross pay on your payslip. That's a really important figure that lenders will often look to first to see if you can afford your mortgage payments. And also any variable income that you might receive. So overtime, bonuses, shift allowances, other allowances, that can all show on your payslip. Lenders will look out for that. Your net income is also a consideration that lenders will look for, but people often think that they use this net figure to calculate your mortgage affordability, and actually, this often isn't the case. Lenders will normally look at your gross information as opposed to the net, and that's quite important to keep in mind. Lenders will also look for your statutory deductions showing on your payslip, for example, your tax and your national insurance. Your national insurance number should be shown on your payslip. Also, lenders might expect to see deductions on your payslips for commitments like your student loan and your pension. And then lastly, benefit deductions can show as well, for example, any salary sacrifice schemes. All of this information, and there's a lot of information, all of that can show on your one payslip, which makes it really helpful for underwriters to assess. So this depends on quite a few factors. First and foremost, lender criteria. Lenders differ hugely across the board. Some lenders will want 1 month payslips, some 3, and some 6. So just on criteria, it can be different from lender to lender. But also it can depend on quite a few factors like your income type. For example, if you're on a fairly standard permanent contract, you don't receive any overtime income, no commission, nothing like that, the lender can just ask for maybe 1 month of payslip because they understand that your income is likely to be consistent from here on. However, if you receive lots of overtime, bonus, shift allowance, lots of variable income, the lender might need to see that over a longer period, perhaps 3 to 6 months, depending on the seasonality of the work that you do. And also, it depends on if you receive your payslips on a monthly or on a weekly basis. If it's monthly, like I say, expect to give 1 to 3 months of payslips, but if it's weekly, obviously you can't provide just one payslip. You'll expect to provide between 8 to 13 weeks of payslips, so 8 to 13 payslips if you work on a weekly basis. And there's lots of other factors to consider too. Now, if you're paid an annual bonus, you'll need to evidence that with payslips too. Often people think that they can just provide their 1 month of payslips showing their latest bonus, and lenders will use that full income for affordability, and that sadly is not the case. Lenders need to have at least 2 annual bonus payslips before they can consider that for affordability. So you'll need to show at least 2 years worth of bonuses before you can use it. So first and foremost, lenders will verify your payslip information by looking at your payslip with your bank statements, and then also looking at the information that you've declared on your mortgage application. That's their first port of call to make sure everything matches up nicely. But also, lenders will normally assess the following: differences between declared income and payslip figures. If there's any differential there, it might be a bit of a red flag to lenders. Large or sudden changes in overtime or bonus payslips, missing employer details or unclear information, unexpected deductions or noticeable salary changes, and payslips that appear altered, incomplete, or inconsistent? All of these factors lenders will look at when assessing your case. So to be honest, it's normally small, annoying inconsistencies that delay approval the most from payslips. For example, something not quite matching up with what you've declared on your application to your payslip. That's the most common issue. Also, mortgage applicants just not understanding that their deductions might actually be factored into their mortgage affordability. This is why it's really important to give your payslip to a broker like Boon Brokers to assess before you submit, or we submit, your mortgage application. Then we'll understand exactly how your payslip looks, what your deductions are, and we can tell you what your maximum borrowing sum is properly with confidence. But there are some other common payslip issues that can cause delays, such as missing employer details, incorrect personal information or addresses, payslips that might appear edited or blurred. Try to avoid that where you can. Large fluctuations in overtime and bonuses. If you have huge fluctuations from month to month, lenders might get a bit scared by that and see that as quite inconsistent. So they might worry about using all of it for affordability purposes. And also duplicating or overlapping pay periods as well. Again, this is normally an issue caused by the employer. And lastly, payslips that fall outside of a lender's accepted time frame. So normally lenders need to see your latest payslips, or for example, payslips within the last 6 months. If you send over payslips accidentally from past that period, it's obviously going to be rejected and those payslips will be asked for again. So a mortgage broker can be absolutely invaluable if you think that you've got problems or concerns around your payslips. It's likely that a broker like Boon Brokers will have seen your payslips thousands of times before, will know which criteria matches with which lender, will be able to understand your payslip, break it down, and tell you your maximum borrowing potential off the back of that and a fact find. Crucially, we're mortgage experts. This is what we do on a daily basis. We stay up to date with criteria. We have whole of market access to lenders in the UK as well, so we know exactly which lender should be suitable for your requirements. And best of all, we're actually totally fee-free. At Boon Brokers, we don't believe in broker fees. We're more than happy with the commission that we receive from the lender when your case completes. And if it doesn't, no hard feelings. We're not going to charge you at any stage of the process. We'll be happy to help you as soon as you're ready. And at Boon Brokers, we're really proud of the reviews from our clients. We've got over 1,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. You can have a look and see all the different experiences from our clients so you can understand what you should expect when you inquire with us. Thank you for watching this video on proof of income requirements to get a mortgage. If you'd like to apply for a mortgage, feel free to contact one of the brokers here at Boon Brokers. We're a whole of market, fee-free mortgage brokerage, and we'd be more than happy to help you.